have to say that, as a minister in DCMS, I am fortunate to cover in my portfolio sports, ceremonials and the civil society, which also includes youth. So I am very lucky, and sometimes very, very lucky, because I get the opportunity to attend or speak at events that are very close to my heart. I was fortunate enough to be the Minister for the Coronation and the Minister for the Eurovision Song Contest. Yes, they actually have a Minister for the Eurovision Song Contest. But today is no exception, because I'd like to thank the National Youth Agency and Lee for hosting this, and to Lloyd Russell Moyle as the Vice Chairman of the All-Party Group on Youth Affairs for sponsoring this really important event today. The theme of this year's Youth Work Week, Youth Work in Every Place and Space, is not just an aspiration that chimes with the aims that we're trying to achieve. It reflects the profoundly important work that many of you here do, day in and day out, to support young people. Shortly, as you heard, we will see a video of young people, some of whom I know are in the audience today, talking about the impact that youth workers have had on their lives. These stories are every bit as powerful as you would expect them to be. Now, I know that the phrase every place and space will resonate with all of you too. The impact of youth work is amplified when it is delivered where it is needed most, be that in youth justice settings, in schools or in hospitals, or where it helps uplift young people, be that in youth clubs, parks, farms, in quarries or up a mountain, coming together to celebrate youth work, youth workers, and those whose lives are so positively impacted across these spaces and places today is a really wonderful opportunity. The unique nature of youth work, one that builds a long-term voluntary relationship with a trusted adult, is incredibly important. Youth work has proven positive impacts on young people's mental health and well-being, their social and emotional and skills development, confidence, political awareness, and citizenship. And we are committed to ensuring a thriving youth sector that meets the needs of young people. I recently had the privilege to visit the Lift Youth Centre in Islington, where I saw how transformational youth services can be. And I spoke with youth workers who had previously attended the youth centre themselves and had been so inspired by their own youth workers that they had entered the profession. I also spoke with a number of young people who definitely were trying to test me at my table tennis skills and beating me wholeheartedly, but there you go, who told me that the youth centre gave them a safe space to meet friends, try new activities and speak to trusted adults. The impact that these activities and trusted relationships can provide cannot be underestimated. So I want to today recognise and thank the National Youth Agency and Lee and all of his team for the work that they have been doing as the professional statutory regulatory body for youth work, and in particular their role in strengthening the youth work infrastructure, a role they deliver in partnership with many of you here today. Initiatives such as the National Youth Sector Census, which maps youth provision across England, and the Youth Work Register, drawing together a database of professional youth workers, are really important tools in continued professionalisation of the youth workforce. The government has also taken important steps in this space. In September, we published the updated guidance for local authorities' youth provision, underpinning their statutory duty as outlined in the Education Act in 1996. And I'd like to record my thanks to those organisations here and elsewhere who have supported this really, really important work. We announced funding for a peer review programme delivered through the National Youth Agency to support local authorities to further strengthen their youth offer. We also announced funding to regional youth work units and local youth partnerships to facilitate greater coordination between youth services around the country. And we continue to fund training bursaries for youth workers and volunteers across England who would otherwise be unable to take up training. Ensuring that all young people have access to youth services is a top priority for both the Secretary of State and I. And that's why we're investing over £500 million in delivering the National Youth Guarantee, which is our commitment that by 2025, every young person in England will have access to regular out-of-school activities, adventures away from home, and opportunities to volunteer. We're continuing to build on that commitment. This summer, the Secretary of State outlined her ambition to provide every young person with someone to talk to, something to do, and somewhere to go. And in September, alongside measures I've already mentioned, aimed at supporting the youth workforce, we announced a number of new initiatives to create more opportunities for young people, including launching a further year of the Adventures Away from Home Fund, enabling young people from disadvantaged backgrounds to access outdoor trips. I was fortunate enough to visit an NCS residential in Doncaster over the summer and to see the impact that these activities had. Young people told me directly that they felt more confident, had overcome fears, had developed new skills, and had made new friends. We've launched the phase 2 of the Million Hours Fund in partnership with the National Lottery Community Fund to provide additional hours of youth activity targeted at specific wards across England. And we're providing targeted support through the Building Futures programme led by the Youth Futures Foundation, providing intensive mentoring and wraparound support. And in partnership with the Youth Endowment Fund and Youth Futures Foundation, we are launching a summer jobs programme. Last but by no means least, we are also supporting the UK Year of Service alongside the National Citizen Service Trust, which helps at least 100 young people access meaningful 9 to 12 months work placements. And having met one of those participants in Liverpool myself, I can tell you the huge impact it had on his life. His story has stayed with me ever since I met him. Now, I'm going to come to a close because we've got far more interesting people to listen to today, but I want to really give a heartfelt tribute to youth workers and to all the youth organisations across every place and space who are delivering such important support to young people. I am personally very committed to this agenda, ensuring that young people are as involved as possible in designing, delivering and evaluating our youth services. So I reserve my last thank you to those young people here today for helping to shape the decisions which affect them and those who follow behind them. I was really touched when they said they wanted to be sat around the decision-making table. We've now tried to do that as much as we can, and I have to say, our decisions are made all the better for having their voice there. Thank you.